So, deep in Idaho's Silver Valley, there's this legendary American mine. For almost a century, it was an absolute engine of industry. But here's the thing, it's got a really dark secret, a legacy of violence, poison, and one of the worst environmental disasters in US history. Now, and you're not going to believe this, a new company is betting millions of dollars that it can bring this sleeping giant back to life. This is the story of Bunker Hill. And this right here, this is the paradox at the heart of the whole story. On one hand, you have this incredible promise of a high-tech comeback. The new CEO, Sam Ash, is talking about generating cash and pumping out critical metals. You know, the stuff we need for electric cars, for national defense, the whole shebang. And he wants to do it by 2026. But on the other hand, you have the grim reality of the location. This big revival, it's happening on one of the largest and most complex toxic waste sites in the entire country. All right, so to really get what's happening now, we've got to rewind the clock. Way back. Founded in 1887, the Bunker Hill mine grew to become Idaho's largest employer. For nearly 100 years, this place churned out lead, zinc, and silver. But this empire, well, it was built on a really brutal foundation. And what's just wild is how blunt the company's early leaders were about it. This is a real quote from the company president around 1897. He said, "In working the mine, we are sure to kill a certain percentage of our men." I mean, that wasn't some unfortunate side effect. From the very beginning, the human cost was just calculated. It was a line item, part of the cost of doing business. Unbelievable. So with an attitude like that, you can probably guess what happened next, right? All-out war. In the early days, this place wasn't just a tough job site. It was a literal battleground. The company wouldn't pay union wages. They hired Pinkerton spies to find and fire union guys. And they even brought in the military to crush major strikes. The tension finally just exploded in 1899 when striking miners hijacked a train and blew the company's $250,000 mill to pieces with dynamite. This really set the stage for a culture that always put profits over people. But, you know, that kind of thinking, it doesn't stay locked up in the mine shafts forever. Eventually, it spilled out into the whole community. And it all came to a head in 1973, when a single accident took a bad situation and turned it into an absolute catastrophe. So let's break down what happened. In September 1973, a fire basically destroyed the baghouse. You can think of it as a giant filter for all the smelter's pollution. Now, the logical thing to do would be to shut down and fix it. But the company, seeing that metal prices were high, made a decision. They kept the smelter running at full capacity for over a year, with its main pollution filter just broken. They just kept going. The result was this uncontrolled plume of poison that led directly to the worst childhood lead poisoning event in American history. And we're not talking about a small problem here. This was huge. When the CDC came in to investigate, they found that 99% of children living within just 1 mile of that smelter had elevated levels of lead in their blood. I mean, think about that. It was basically a blanket poisoning of an entire generation of kids. And to really grasp how bad it was, just look at these numbers. The average kid near the smelter had a blood lead level of 67.4. Now, to give you some perspective, the CDC's action level today, the point where they say, whoa, this is a serious problem, is 3.5. That's almost 20 times the level that would set off alarm bells and trigger a massive health emergency today. It's off the charts. Well, after something like that, a day of reckoning is bound to come, right? The mine closed down, which absolutely crushed the local economy, and it left behind this toxic mess that would become one of the biggest, most expensive environmental cleanups in U.S. history. So first, the bottom just falls out of the economy. The company was getting hammered by falling metal prices and the huge costs of new environmental rules. So in 1982, they just shut the whole thing down. And boom, over 2,000 people are out of a job, basically gutting the entire Silver Valley's economy. The very next year, the EPA stepped in and officially named the area a Superfund site. And if you don't know, that's basically the federal government's list of the worst toxic sites in the country. Bunker Hill became a poster child for industrial pollution. And the sheer scale of the mess they left behind, it's hard to even wrap your head around. The estimate is that over the years, the operation spewed out 2.4 billion pounds of lead, not to mention other heavy metals, just spread out across thousands of acres of the valley. And you can guess what that means for the price tag to clean it all up. The EPA thinks a full long-term fix for the whole 1,500 square mile area could end up costing as much as $1.4 billion. And that's a bill that's still being paid today. Okay, but the story doesn't end there with $1 billion cleanup bill. No way. This is where things get really interesting, because now we have this high-stakes second act. A new company, Bunker Hill Mining Corp., is betting millions that it can do what everyone thought was impossible: bring this historic mine back to life. And this time, do it responsibly. Now, the new folks in charge, they know the history, they're not ignoring it. The CEO, Sam Ash, says the whole point is to leverage historic opportunities with modern mining practices. The whole pitch is, hey, we can do this, right? We can take this historic place and use modern tech to be profitable and responsible, even on a Superfund site. And look, this isn't just corporate jargon and wishful thinking. They're actually making real progress. According to their updates, major work on the new processing plant and this high-tech tailings filter press is already well underway. The restart is happening. So you're probably asking, where's the money for all this coming from? It's a pretty bold plan. Well, a big part of it is from this clever, complex deal called a silver loan facility. Basically, they're borrowing money against the future value of silver that's still sitting in the ground. It's kind of like taking out a mortgage on a house you haven't even built yet. They are literally betting the future of the mine to pay for its revival right now. And man, they are not wasting any time. They've got a super aggressive timeline. The plan is simple and fast. Get construction done, fire up the new plants, start digging underground, and start producing metal and making money, all in the first half of 2026. So, when you step back and look at the whole picture, it's pretty wild. The leadership is new, the tech is brand new, the financing is creative, but the mountain and its deep, toxic legacy, that's still there. It really leaves you wondering, right? Can a place with such a toxic, violent past truly be reborn? Can they build a sustainable future on this poisoned ground, or is history just doomed to repeat itself?